Hey guys, Alex Khan here, and I want to give you my thoughts on Episode 7, Season 1, Book of Boba Fett. This is the last episode in the season, and I actually don't know if they'll make a Season 2. I really hope that they do, because I feel like Season 1 of Boba Fett, it didn't quite do everything that we wanted, and I feel like Mandalorian Season 2 gave us an image of Boba Fett of what we did want. But when they made the Book of Boba Fett, we didn't quite get what we saw in Season 2 of Mandalorian for Boba Fett. Also, I feel like at the end of this episode, you hear Boba Fett say he's not really cut out to be a daimyo. And then if you watch the end credits, you see Cobb Vanth recuperating after his showdown with Cad Bane. A lot of us thought he might have not made it, but we see that he does make it. So what I'm getting from this is Cobb Vanth will become the new daimyo of Tatooine, and then we'll see Boba Fett, go off and do what he's always done, be a bounty hunter, and fight. Because last episode of this season we see him fighting, and that's what we wanted. We wanted what we saw in season 2 of Mandalorian. We saw a Boba Fett that can fight really well, and also Boba Fett, as seen in Mandalorian Season 2, he didn't take crap from anybody. We saw Bo-Katan talking trash to Boba Fett, and Boba Fett didn't take that. But, when we got to Book of Boba Fett, he was taking it from everybody. Everybody talked trash to Boba Fett, everybody was lying to Boba Fett, and he knew it. But he still just kind of stood there and took it from them. The different personality between Mandalorian Season 2 and then Book of Boba Fett Season 1. So, let's talk more about Boba Fett this last episode here. Overall, I did like the episode. I really did. But I feel like some of the directing was kind of bad. And I feel like the scenes didn't really transition that well from one scene to the next. It was kind of a choppy episode. Also, I feel like they could have hired a military consultant when making this episode, since this episode was largely centered around a battle. And a lot of the decisions they were making in this episode were kind of odd and bizarre, and didn't make much sense from a military standpoint. Boba Fett has this really large area to defend, and he has very few soldiers to defend it. But what does he do? He sends 2 of his Gamorrean guards to defend one sector. He sends one Wookiee by himself to defend another. And then in another section, he has a bunch of kids defending it. Yeah, the scenes didn't really transition that well. But that said, I will always take a badly directed, poorly paced Boba Fett episode as opposed to a fan serviced filler episode, which is what we got in episodes 5 and 6. Episode 5 definitely belonged in the Mandalorian show. It had nothing to do with the Book of Boba Fett. And then episode 6 was 80% fan service. That whole scene with Luke Skywalker and Grogu and Ahsoka and Mando, that could have been chopped down to 10 minutes. My problem with those 2 episodes is it robbed us of Boba Fett screen time. We had no Boba Fett screen time. You know what really grinds my gears, guys? Is when people say episodes 5 and 6 were the best episodes because the first 4 episodes were boring because Boba Fett is supposedly boring. Well, don't you think that's the writer's fault for that? The show needs better writers. I'm really glad we got an episode about Boba Fett this time. And I'm really glad we saw Boba Fett fight. That scene where Boba Fett and Mando are flying in to confront the Syndicate, that was awesome. That's what we wanted to see in the first 5 episodes. We wanted to see Boba Fett, flying around, taking out, his opponents, because that's what we expected after watching season 2 of The Mandalorian. We saw a Boba Fett that could take down, platoons of stormtroopers. But yeah, I loved a lot of these moments. I love that Boba Fett took out Cad Bane. And the only reason why Cad Bane actually rose to begin with was because Jango Fett, Boba Fett's father, was beheaded by Mace Windu. That left this big vacuum in the bounty hunter market. And since Boba Fett was still a kid, that definitely left room for Cad Bane to fill that gap. I don't know. What did you guys think of that? Cad Bane versus Boba Fett. Do you think Boba Fett should have won that? I definitely do. Because it's always been established that Boba Fett was this, cold-blooded killer. Even Cad Bane said he was a cold-blooded killer. It did establish that Cad Bane was a lot faster on the draw, so that's pretty cool. And it also established that Boba Fett needed his armor. Without that armor, he would have been dead. fighting Cad Bane. So that should be some kind of comfort to all you, Cad Bane fans out there. I have another nitpick about this episode. That last episode where Fennec is wiping out, all the Tatooine leaders. I think that should have been Boba Fett's moment, because these guys were the ones largely responsible for, for the Tuskens getting massacred by the Syndicate. So this should have been a revenge scene by Boba Fett. That would have been cool. Seeing him shoot through the ceiling, maybe see him, fly around while grappling some of the leaders and just like dragging them through the air. That would have been really cool too. Or just having him like torch the Syndicate leaders. That would have been a cool moment. Because Fennec really she already had her moment to shine when she was rescuing those kids from getting defeated by the Syndicate. She already had her moment. And besides, this is the show about Boba Fett, not a show about Fennec. It's not a show about Luke Skywalker. This should have been, a Boba Fett show overall. But yeah, I think overall we did get a Boba Fett centric episode in this final episode. I would take this, poorly directed episode over episodes 5 and 6 any day. Episodes 5 and 6 had really nothing to do with Boba Fett, but I don't want to repeat myself. I already said that earlier. I want to see a season 2 where, Boba Fett leaves Tatooine altogether, puts Cobb Vanth in charge as daimyo, and then maybe we'll see Boba Fett go back to bounty hunting, because he's still good at it. I mean, he's still good at fighting, so he can definitely make bounties, and he can pick and choose, who he does bounties for. He doesn't have to fight for people like Jabba the Hutt anymore. He doesn't need to do that. He's a lot smarter now, and he can pick and choose his bounties better. One that doesn't violate his moral compass, even though you can argue he doesn't really have a moral compass. We did see some of that character growth in Book of Boba Fett, where he's trying not to be such a cold-blooded killer. He's trying to. But yeah, overall, I did like the episode. I want to see a season 2 where we see his spaceship more. I want to see a season 2 where we don't get filler episodes anymore. I don't need all that fan service unless it's actually relevant to Boba Fett. I just don't want to see it unless it advances the Boba Fett character development. But yeah, give me your thoughts. Would you guys want to see another season of Boba Fett if they did it right? And that's pretty much all I want to say. Again, I didn't really have a structure to this video. I was kind of rambling from topic to topic. I really do like Boba Fett a lot. I just want to see them do it right if they have a season 2.